Within like 2 months of moving to a 3PL that could really consistently ship cold products, get them delivered very, very fast from the warehouse to the customer, they sped up the shipping time, which made it so that it reduced problematic deliveries where the product didn't come right. They saw their returning customer revenue drastically increase, like to the tune of like 80% within a couple of months. That's not the only thing they did. They did a lot of other stuff as well. But it made a huge difference. Now, it was a huge job. My client was stressed out for like a month and a half, and is maybe still kind of stressed out about it to do that. But it clearly made a gigantic difference to the customer's experience. And so they dug really deeply into it because this was core to the way the customer interacted with the product. It was core to the way that the customer the brand delivered on its promise to the customer, made the experience better for everyone. And what happened? Customers came back more often. Suddenly the returning customer rate goes up. Suddenly your whole business is more profitable because now you're generating revenue apart from ad spend. Every customer you get is worth more money, and you are now much better set up to approach and produce larger scale. Okay. That's what you've got to think about. You've got to think about this in your business, and you've got to care about it a lot and look to those places. Now, some of you may not have as big of wins or whatever in that particular spot, but like if you're an apparel brand, understand where and how your customers are wearing your products. Right? Like understand it deeply. No, are they wearing it to work? Are they wearing it around the house? Are they wearing whatever? I once worked with another brand that really loved this one particular product of theirs. And yet it wasn't really clear to me that the customer cared that much about it. And so there was this mismatch between the thing that the brand cared about and thought was great and what the customer cared about and thought was great. And there's all of these different, so, that's normal in one respect, right? You go to market with an idea in your mind and you think to yourself, this is going to be great for the customer. You have an idea, but maybe the customer doesn't care about it the way that you do. And so you have to retool and reshape and rethink along the way. Becoming obsessed with that and watching how to do this will make it so that you, in delivering more on your promise more easily to your customer, is going to make every channel you advertise on work better. It's going to make every channel you sell in work better. It's going to make every customer or every member of your team who touches anything be more effective, because at the end of the day, customers are having a great experience with your brand. And this gets us to the concept of brand, right? I saw Sean Frank tweet this the other day, something to the effect of, on day zero, he said, brand is your ability to deliver on your promise to your customer. And on day zero, therefore, it is worth nothing. On day 1,000, it's worth a lot. And I think that's totally right for how D2C brands, as they're growing in their 7 and early 8-figure stages of their businesses, need to think about the concept of brand for themselves, right? It is this ability to deliver on your promise at scale to your customer so that your customer has a great experience with you, loves it, talks about it, leaves positive reviews, all of those things. And that's what you've got to dig into. For nearly every one of my clients, our Facebook ads pixel is installed with BILY, not with a Shopify native integration, not with any other third-party tool out there. And that's because BILY is the best meta ads pixel tool in the world, of which I'm aware it's also the most affordable. The way I know that is because I've run tests with BILY against the native Shopify integration. I've run it against other third-party tools, and over again, BILY reports the most complete picture of my actual ROAS, my actual performance, because it tracks the most information the best. And also, it gives me the highest event match quality scores of anything that I've seen. So it is objectively the case. That's why I use it and I love it. You can get started for $1 today. There's all kinds of other great things about it. Go check it out right now. BILY.ai. Go use BILY today. Brand is not a pretty picture on your website. It's not beautiful photography. That may be helpful in building a brand, but it's not really the main thing. It is actually this ability to do this over time. And that's how you establish something that people really care about, resonate with, and that can actually grow. All right. Having said all that, there is another element of this that is easy to lose sight of, which is the marketing side. Because once you can deliver on that promise, now you have a challenge, okay, which is to actually communicate about that promise that you are delivering, okay? Once the customer is going to have a great experience with the product, now you have to tell them that. Because a customer who's new to your brand doesn't know that. They don't know that you've worked really, really hard to solve all these problems. What they instead think probably is the same thing they think about every other brand in your category. And they don't really understand why you're differentiated, and they don't really understand how you've made a point of making it easier for them, et cetera. So you have to go and dig into that a little bit more. And this is another thing I've watched really clearly with brands that I'm working with, where the brands that I'm working with that are really successful, one of the things that marks them is that they care so much that when the customer goes from the ad to the website, it's a great experience. Almost all of them are putting real money money and real time and real effort into thinking through more, how do I do this? One client of mine recently was using sort of a custom. They had an element of their product that included a custom like box that you could build, right, with a bunch of different products all at once. And so you could select them all on one page, and select a bunch of different products, put them all in one box, etc. And the builder that they used for that, like sort of custom build your own product thing, in their telling, was pretty crappy. It was not a very good builder. It was limited in what its capacity was. And so they were frustrated. And yet that builder was a really good way for a customer to experience their product. So they had this problem, which is that the custom builder is a good idea because for the customer, building a build your own sort of box approach was really useful. On the other hand, the actual software for that box wasn't very good. So what did he do? He couldn't find a developer who was willing to work on it very well. So he just went and learned and figured out how to code it himself. And I don't know that he has like a super deep coding background, like or anything like that, but he just decided this matters too much for the customer experience for me to just let this sit here and be a crappy experience. I am going to knock down whatever problems they need to knock down. If there are barrier walls in the way of me delivering value to the customer like this, it's a problem. Because if the customer can check out easier, if the customer can build their box easier, it's going to make a big difference to their experience. That's going to generate value for the customer and make it easier for them to get the things they want, which is in turn going to generate value for my business. And so they solved the problem. They wouldn't let it just sit there and deal with it. And this is another thing I watch happen all the time. There's this inertia with your website. Brands have their website and they go well, it's just like, it just kind of is what it is. And that's the best experience we can have. And or just sort of nobody updates things or whatever. And that's a real problem. Like, if you care about growing your business, keep pressing in. Resist the urge to make sort of broader adjustments to your website, and think more about how you build really tight, well-messaged funnels to customers that's going to make it easy for them to find the things that they need, that's going to present an offer that makes sense. This gets back to the thing I was mentioning earlier, right? And become obsessed with driving that all the way through your business. Again, the brands that I see that do a really good job of this realize that those elements, like communicating clearly on a landing page, having an offer that makes sense, making sure that all of your creative is messaging down to people's really specific, really direct experience. I did also an episode recently about this idea that, like, you want to go deep if you want to as a way of going wide. Know exactly how your customers are interacting with your brand. Speak to those situations. Know how they're interacting with other brands in the category. Speak to those situations and do it all the way through the funnel. Do the hard work of building the lander, building the offer, building the custom PDP. Like, this is where I think somebody like Fermat, who I've taken as a sponsor recently, is going to be a crucial player in this space for years to come, because brands that are good and effective are going to use Fermat, which is the best tool I know for this, to build these extremely custom, carefully designed experiences that speak really specifically to customers and to their experience with your brand and your product at scale. And that way they're going to make it easier for the customer to see the value that you're promising. And then, of course, you turn around as a brand and deliver that value to them. Again, if you think about this, if you think about what I'm saying, there's a way of approaching the total e-commerce game that goes something like this, okay? Job number one to get to $1 or $2 million in revenue is basic product market fit. Okay. This is not about going deep with a subset of customers in order to go wide. It's not about creating the massive amount of scale or whatever. It's just about proving out that your idea works. That's phase one of your business. Okay. But phase two lasts for a really long time. Okay. And scaling up the operations to go reach more and more customers. If you've reached $1 million or $2 million in sales in a year, you probably have baseline product market fit. It's very hard to sell, let's call it $1 million worth of stuff in a year at anything close to profitable if you don't have product market fit. Okay. You probably have that. Now, how much scale you have, who knows? It depends on too many other factors. I can't answer that in the aggregate, but it means that you've accomplished something. And now the game becomes, how do I scale the business? There's financial elements of that. There's operational elements of that. There's all these questions in there. But in the midst of that, I really think the journey from like 1 million to 50 million is really this simple. Number one, get clarity to your P&L design and how you're going to generate profit along the way so that you don't get fat with your business, so that you are thinking carefully about how to make it so that your unit economics get better over time, that you're generating high margin, all those things, be on top of your cash flow. There's some basic management stuff there that is really important for running your D2C brand well.